My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. I already want to show you where Michelob is gang stalking with, you hear the train, with Union Pacific. These are companies that are engaged in the pattern conduct. Stater Brothers, you already know that. They're doing so at the venue. This is also DD's Discounts. Their demon-possessed gang stalking employees are monitoring. I'm going to show you where they're monitoring at. Clearly you see this is at what is 6:30 a.m. I just want to be clear. I'm going to prosecute this little broke down store. They're engaged in the pattern of conduct. They're pacing while they're going in and out, reporting to work. So that's the use of their employment to engage in the state's pattern of conduct. And they're doing it in the specific environment. First of all, the fake sun is here 6 hours later. 4 hours later, where the Ontario police are flying in circles over my head as I'm documenting the people of the state like I'm documenting now. 9U Zebra Charlie 342, gang stalking Dee discounts. 8 David Edward Mary 060, gang stalking Dee discounts in furtherance of murder. So in the specific environment, that's Engineer Light over there under Subway. This is supposed to be the fake sun right here. This is supposed to be the fake sun. There's no light that's going to appear in this manner, okay? Underneath the covering at that. But it's, the entities engaged in this, and this is my shadow, okay? That's appearing underneath the covered structure. I just want you to see. This is what I captured for another example. I'll give you Ontario Airport in the hotel. And this is also speaking to not only the presence of the fakes and the duration of time, but the presence of this engineer light that's touching everything. And that's supposed to be serving what is this illusion regarding sun and sunlight. Sunlight does not shoot this way horizontally through the air. You're not driving through light that's shooting like a laser through the air. It's not ricocheting off of objects, creating the shape of the object that it touches and appears flat on the ground. It doesn't also appear flat on the ground outside and also on the inside of venues where they're engaging what is the maintenance of this engineer light because they're monitoring. The entities engage in the maintenance of this fake sun, which is present at 12:51 p.m. in this same exact manner. And by same exact manner, I mean when I'm walking over here, walking out back toward the OVITT Family Community Library, like I documented on Sunday, the fake sun is a brighter yellow and it's just over the top of my head at this same portion of the parking lot. That's serving an illusion. And this is an unintelligent illusion. It's light that's actually just coming out of nowhere. It has nothing to do with what is the appearance of this fake sun. And it's also sensitive to what it is that I'm observing because I am being monitored. Monitoring is demonic. Your thoughts, your devices, and what I'm thinking about is this evidence as I'm using my device. So this is simultaneous criminal monitoring, federal stalking on devices in concert with the people of the state. Okay, so the entities engage in what is maintaining this engineer light, and it rapidly increases as I begin documenting it, as I begin observing it. It's under no circumstances sunlight. Okay, this is P.O.C. and it coats everything. And everybody's in this environment reporting to work. That's a prosecution of Dee. Prosecution of Pepe's towing. You already know that they're terrorists. I've documented them being an egregious sex offender. And this local sex offender is going to be federally prosecuted, engaging in surveillance for years. Okay, I believe that they're from the cursed town of Ontario, California, headquartered. The entities engage in this P.O.C. This demon in the white pickup truck committing sexual assault and battery as an entity as I walk out of Stater Brothers. They're all in the engineer light. This is the same smoke. This is the same King's Tattoo dentist office right here. This is where Ontario police engaged in flying in circles right here. And that ritual you saw, psychopathic pacing in the engineer light where they're all stalking the target. This is what they do as they murder people. As they murder the target, this is what they do as they sexually violate the target. That is sacrificing the target, okay? This is the entity that's gang stalking. And I'm breaking down the system, but it's also relevant to what is diagnosing what will be their mental illness, and you're prosecuting what is public corruption. Dee is intentionally and knowingly engaging the surveillance system. Their demon-possessed employees are the ones that are facilitating it, and so is Dee discounts. While the fake sun is over me, Dee discounts will be prosecuted as an establishment that's engaging in terrorism and sexual assault and battery. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Village Shopping Center. This is all engineer light underneath covered structure, and it's in the same manner at 10, 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. My documentation shows, as I've already been publishing on the internet, at 4 o'clock in the evening, this sun would not be still over this same address. Not only that, it's over the top of my head at the same Stater Brothers in the same shopping plaza at 4 o'clock. There is no amount of years that's going to change the impossibility of that. This is where the airport is engaging in what is surveillance with the people, psychopathic pacing in the sky space, while their job is to stalk, pace all around in the light, and touch with light. This is sexual violence, psychological torture, criminal stalking, and furtherance of murder, and it's state action. 58005X1, targeting with impossible light you see on the ground, but they also are touching me with impossible light. That's what I documented the other morning when the aged biddy with liver spots is committing sexual assault and battery because the sun was right here reflecting off of her windshield, coating my entire body with engineered light. These are stalkers. And stalkers are going by business names, and you're going to prosecute the businesses. This is a federal RICO case, which the government has manifested. This is P.O.C. It's currently 6:35 a.m. This is impossible light activity. This is engineer light. This is the evidence of criminal surveillance, and it's not circumstantial evidence, it's direct evidence. P.O.C. All right, this is the same psychopathic pacing, the ongoing annoying conduct. This is defined as harassment. The entity is stalking, and they are, again, I'm documenting the entity stalking as an airport where the terminals are not going to result in this. First of all, they're literally engaging in, you'll see the pictures that I'm taking. While the people are engaged in psychopathic pacing, this is what they do with the Ontario police, flying in circles over me, crossing path under the fake sun. The entity's engaging in this. That's license 7ABG 311, I believe. That's African American male. This is what I'm documenting at the OVITT Family Community Library last night while the fake moon was over me. You're paying attention, you're recognizing the pattern. Okay, the demon possessed that are worshiping my vagina, breaking into bathrooms, acting like they don't know that I'm there, knocking on the door to create activity, entering in the code to create activity so they could stalk in the path while they're engaged in vagina monitoring and engineer light, which is both inside and outside, 9ELW 519, and further into murder with the airport. The airport's being shut down as they're co-conspirators of murder, and they are the reason for the ongoing criminal facilitation of corruption and criminal activity by the people. They're literally stalking as a whole state operation, and this is also the disbanding of the Ontario police. This is mental illness. To be engaging in this is mentally ill behavior. They're demon possessed, okay? This is P.O.C. Demon possession is not a defense. It's relevant context for prosecuting the government for domestic terrorism. And you need to know that Satan is real, and so is demon possession, and it is a threat to the public. They're monitoring your genitalia. They're monitoring your thoughts. They're engaging in psychological torture. They're violent sex offenders. They're a threat to the vulnerable, including minor children and the vulnerable elderly people. The entities, those that are not demon possessed already, because I've documented the elderly that are demon possessed. The entities engaging in this P.O.C. with the state. It's currently 7:14 a.m. This is P.O.C. license 9ELW 519. You're going to prosecute the venues. It's not based on business hours. You see this engineer light? I'm going to prosecute these little rinky-dink mom and pop shops. They're not even going to survive prosecution. This is the Ontario Village Shopping Center, P.O.C. This is psychopath. Now, what you want to remember is pay attention. Pepe is engaged in surveillance, prolonged stalking, conspicuous stalking. You're going to prosecute. But the entities engaged, and that's UPS, by the way. That's also UPS. This is psychopathic pacing, back and forth, another plane after another plane. That's what they're doing as one demonic entity in vehicles. That's what they're doing on Holt Boulevard. And they're doing this while the fake sun is still here 5 hours later, where the entity is gang stalking. And when I'm walking out of the entrance doors of the Stater Brothers, this is what they're doing. They're stalking in the path as I'm walking out, tracking my steps through the demon possessed. This is federal prison right here. And this is exactly what they're going to get in federal court. They're engaging in this. Their obsession is what is illustrated while they're stalking in plain sight. And this is literally the courtroom. They're in the courtroom before the federal judge during the midst of a federal investigation, engaging and committing the ongoing violence in real time. And the feds are watching them execute that. They're also understanding how it's executed in this country and in other parts of the world as well. They will be subject to what is commitments and federal prison. This is P.O.C. This is what an entity does when they are murdering people and they are tracking them down, hunting them, psychologically torturing them, and engaging in this manner. Well, now you're doing it to somebody that's documenting you. And there are consequences. And there's also a consequence for doing it in my face when I'm documenting you. What type of absurdly psychotic stalker and sex offender is that? You're going to prosecute. This is psychopathic pacing on Holt Boulevard, not traffic. This is P.O.C. It's currently 7:16 a.m. Everybody that I documented on E Street, on Beverly, on D Street, off of what is San Antonio Avenue, in every parking lot, they're all being prosecuted. This is the same pattern of conduct. This entity is engaged in stalking as a joint concerted effort, and they're being federally prosecuted with that same criminal conspiracy to engage in that pattern of conduct, and you're all going to get your due credit. P.O.C. 7KYJ302. She's engaged in surveillance, and as I take her picture, immediately the entity is feigning the same takeoff over the OVITT Family Community Library. This is in furtherance of murder. That's P.O.C. That's exactly what the female in the Civic is doing this morning. And that's exactly what Pepe is towing is engaging in. That's exactly what the male in the silver Nissan is engaging in. And I'm going to let you know, this is Southwest Airlines, which is a company that's stalking, and I'm also going to prosecute the government, the city of Ontario, that is stalking in concert. That's the combination of the people in the state. They're doing so in the environment I showed you this morning during the 6 a.m. hour. This is engineer light, layered light. There's the engineer light that's supposedly reflecting off of off the window. Then there's the light that's supposedly coming underneath the structure, going in contradictory directions. And then you have the fake sun that was rising, and it's still here at 8:39 a.m. This is surveillance. And what's not different is from a third party coming and just parking here while all the businesses are closed. And even if they're open, it's the same criminal surveillance. They're doing the same thing at a traffic light. They are stalking in the path with the state. This is the state's means of being in your presence. Being in your presence is stalking. Following to be in your presence perpetually is stalking. That is in the aggregate. This is surveillance, and the entity's doing so under a fake sun. Doesn't matter if you're engaging in landscaping. It doesn't matter if you call yourself working at the restaurant under the fake sun. That's the malice of the entity. It's public corruption. And they are engaged in surveillance on the internet, which the Ontario Police has already shown to you. The Los Angeles Police Department has already proven as well. As I take a picture of this third party engaging in surveillance with impunity, remember, they are aware of the fact of what I'm documenting, and then they decide to come and conspicuously surveil with the government in furtherance of murdering you. That's the basis of federal prison. This is the Ontario Village Shopping Center. The fake sun is still here hours later. And even when you have an employee that comes and opens up the shop, understand that they are stalking in the path in the same exact environment. Nothing about the environment changes. In other words, this is how public corruption exists in plain sight, okay? This is P.O.C. When you're coming around engaging in what is the means of audible activity, coming around and using the leaf blower around me, coming around using the weed whacker around me, coming around and scraping the sidewalk around me, you're doing so under the fake sun with the same exact state. It's P.O.C. They're demons, okay? Any and every industry is engaging in that same P.O.C., whether you're baking cupcakes or whether you're engaging in exterminating roaches. It's the same pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. It's currently 8:40 a.m. This is a stalker, okay? Another homosexual female she's stalking, very heavily stalking P.O.C. License 8KPX040, stalking just like the demons under the fake sun at 10:29 a.m. when they're engaged in psychopathic pacing. That's how you're able to diagnose mental illness, by their pattern of conduct, which is shared. P.O.C. Ontario Village Shopping Center. So you can see, this is a far cry from lifting off over the Ontario City Hall, the OVITT Family Community Library. This is Stalking at Alaska Airlines, and this is Omnitrend Stalking. License 1613617, vehicle 1216. And they stop at a bus stop in relevant position while the demons are gang stalking with the government that's following with planes and helicopters. A fake sun, which I've also shown aboard Omnitrends, that is monitoring and molesting with impossible light, going from city to city with that fake sun in the window, which is not the case now, while they are targeting on the roads and the highways and making money. That's the federal RICO case. Omnitrends is a state actor. The United States Postal Service, those are a bunch of demons wearing USPS uniforms, monitoring, conspiring murder and delivering your mail, okay? But not in my instance. They're withholding my mail while conspiring my murder, which is relevant to the criminal conduct that the U.S. government has committed in concert with the feds, who are the United States Postal Service, gang stalking with Alaska Airlines, that's a third party, the city of Ontario, that's the state, while now we're over Vine and Holt Boulevard, and the entities engage in this sort of conduct over the OVITT Family Community Library. Okay, the entity's deviating as I deviate. This is south, and the entity's engaging in that while I am over the Ontario Village Shopping Center, and they're acting like they're taking off. This would be where they're rising up in elevation over the subway sign, acting like they're rising up in elevation, taking off there. There's no airport back here. These are idiots, and I'm going to prosecute every airline. They are the people of the state. Companies engaging in the conspiracy shall be prosecuted as co-conspirators of murder. They are persons under the law, and these persons are engaged in criminal activity. A federal RICO case against every business in the state of California, and the entities engaged in the pattern of conduct on the venue of the internet. This is what YouTube is engaged in. This is what the entity that shuts down your account when you're exposing the fact that the government's conspiring your murder. They're not doing that ignorantly, and regardless of what they want to admit, because no federal case is going to be based on some defendant admitting guilt. You're going to prove it. You are engaged in third-party conduct, and there is an unlawful threat that is heightening above and supersedes your company interests with regard to some random and arbitrary company policy with regard to the illusion of privacy when you are a gang stalking company in the state of California, number one, and you are in any way engaging in third-party conduct that is facilitating that conspiracy to murder, concealing evidence, removing their identities off the internet. This is what the entity has been engaged in, such as YouTube, for years. Removing my evidence of the fake sun. This is the prosecution of the entity that is third-party YouTube on the venue of the internet, the people of the state. That is, by the way, headquartered in California. All of California is engaged in the pattern of conduct. YouTube knows exactly what I'm talking about, and they engage in obstruction of justice in furtherance of my murder. P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 8:50 a.m. License 70 NM806. They know what it is, who I am, and what it is that I'm talking about, the significance of the fake sun on the internet, and this knows who I am also. 7GIW225, it's a vagina monitor. I know what they are as well. P.O.C. Okay, just 2 seconds, not too long here. The Ontario Police Department are a foregone conclusion. They're being disbanded. These are mentally ill, unfit criminals, rapists, and murderers who are gang stalking. Doing so with the entity license 1680789.
Engaging in surveillance. They're monitoring as I'm walking throughout the neighborhood. So the people of the state are working as third parties for this agency. They are going to prison. I don't need the face. I got the license. They're going to report their identity. They're going to prison. This is the fake son. Jay Sandoval's in surveillance here during the 6 a.m. hour during daylight savings time. It's currently 8:58 a.m. The Ontario International Airport is engaging in surveillance with that agency and furtherance of murder and kidnapping, including when I'm on Holt Boulevard, and they're engaging now cartwheels here instead of continuing west and doing cartwheels over the Stater Brothers parking lot, stalking nonetheless over the fake son that's progressing much earlier than it did on Sunday, staying west of this location over that parking lot. That's identification of a stalker in a police uniform, a police vehicle bearing weapons representing a badge that is ostensibly exercising authority under the law that they don't have. They're vagina monitoring psychopaths pacing all around, stalking. And you're wearing a uniform, like I stated, to engage in criminal activity of this nature in order to facilitate it, to maliciously commit that ongoing criminal activity. That's by design, because of the malicious nature of stalkers that are wearing police uniforms, who are then engaging what are taking the lives and arresting and incarcerating the people of the state, falsely accusing them, having no authority, whether the an entity, for example, a target individual stole a candy bar from the 7-Eleven, you were stalking them as they were going to that 7-Eleven to do so. This is a principled argument. They don't have authority under the law, state and federal constitutions. But moreover, they are targeting innocent American citizens. That's what I represent. They are targeting in concert with the people of the state, the entity, not private individuals. And you're doing so in police uniforms to get away with murder, to get away with stalking. Who is going to suspect the police themselves, who are supposed to be executing the law? All right. You're doing so in that environment, and that's why they're going to prison. Okay. This is P.O.C. That was the airport stalking with the agency. That was state action directly. This is all state vicariously. Everybody's house, everybody's vehicle, environment, even the gang stalking churches, engineer light all over the place. They're gang stalking police departments that commit kidnapping, like the Ontario Police Department, are being disbanded. And this is a matter of what is dealing with domestic terrorism, and there will be no negotiations. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9 a.m. Look at that light activity. 989 EID, Colorado, sexual assault and battery on behalf of the government. That is stalking. Let's see where. Right here, where they're feigning a takeoff more and more as I travel east. That impossible light, 6NMN 639, license 8FLS 959, 4638772, 9EIV 553, impossible light against the building as well. Where Southwest Airlines is sharing in domestic terrorism, doing so with, you already know, the Ontario Police Department. Okay, they're doing so under sun. Let's get another image of this ongoing evidence regarding prosecution for the people of the state who are going to federal prison. All right, the entity's engaging what is keeping this fake sun. It's in the same position it is at 4. Through the window, through the doors of the OVITT Family Community Library. Let me see, it's currently 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 7 hours from now. What are you doing at a facilitating venue under a fake sun, engaging, that is a transaction with the facilitating venue that's engaged in the government's criminal pattern of conduct, which you're not ignorantly engaging in this, stalking with impossible light, engaging in criminal summoning, making false allegations against the people of the state, engaging what is harassment, doing so while you are clearly under that environment where it's remaining. If I get in their car, that fake sun moves. These are demons. They're not ignorant, and they're going to prison. Every business is going to be prosecuted as the population is sharing in that. This is public corruption, and this is impunity. 10876W1, and they're psychopaths, hostile because they're being documented. Hostility is relevant to their mental illness. The entity that you see engaging in assault and battery, the entity that you see engaging in what is cussing me out, they're mentally ill. They're going to be diagnosed and committed based on that criminal activity. This is the pattern of conduct, and this is the disbanding of the Ontario Police. They're literally pacing to the ATM. As he walks away and she walks forward, they're finding any means to pace. That's what they're doing, and the fake sun's not going anywhere. But on Sunday, it's remaining over the Ontario Village Shopping Center. This is P.O.C. This is the demon-possessed that are no longer secretly amongst us. P.O.C. It is currently 9:09 a.m. Southwest Airlines, that's a whole airport that is stalking, not just Southwest, and I'm going to prosecute gang stalking airlines that only exists with regard to the mentally ill and wildly corrupt demon-possessed that fill the state of California, utilizing businesses and airports and police departments, sheriff's departments, banking institutions, the housing communities. That's why I go through their neighborhood and document, and they will be prosecuted. License 8DQV148. This is the same entity that I documented, and it's published on the YouTube, the platform serving the public good, exposing domestic terrorists who are a threat to national security. They are in need of martial law, and that's exactly what's coming. License 9EIV553. This is P.O.C. It's 9:09 p.m. Excuse me, 9:09 a.m. Excuse me. Okay, I want to get this because this is for documentation purposes. These are demons that know that they're being disbanded and documented, and so they engage in playing games with their own lives and futures. Their families are going to be broken poor. They're going to prison, and they're going to be looking for places to live because everything they stole is going to be seized if it hasn't already. This is the Ontario police that are stalking. We're going to prison everybody in that library, just like when they're stalking and flying over the library. That's the same department. So is the city of Ontario with the Ontario Police Department. This is the entity that's doing so. I want you to recall the documentation when I'm coming from the Ontario airport in, and they're playing these little stupid games. They're playing with the wrong person. Everybody that I documented this morning is engaging in the pattern of conduct with that department. All it does is confirm the ongoing evidence, which I don't need. My evidence unilaterally establishes a criminal pattern of conduct. But moreover, this department engaging what is stalking me, using vehicles to do so, incriminating the mayor, that's engaging what is this ongoing threat communicated as an entity that engages in kidnapping, is engaged in vagina monitoring, is engaged in ongoing harassment and threatening conduct, psychological torture while you're stalking under a fake sun, the same fake sun that's here at 4:03 p.m. on video, while the entity flies over my head by helicopter as I refer to that evidence. That's that same documentation regarding that agency. This is an entity that's engaged in, I want you to see this. This is why Mike LORENZ and that agency is being disbanded. Not only are they criminals, they're mentally unwell, they're unfit. This is demonic with regard to stalking in the path with light, doing while the fake sun remains over me. Okay, P.O.C. Remember on Sunday when I'm coming here after 1 o'clock in the afternoon and this fake sun's in the same position? That's a demon. And that agency represents what is the Ontario Police Department. The entities engaging in this while the people of the state, that's Alexander Grigg, that's Kelly Blacken, Sean Thrasher. You have what is the entity that's gang stalking, in other words, all the employees that are pacing through this library all day long on behalf of that agency under a fake sun. It's not helpful in court. The federal judges, the federal law is going to incorporate, be cognizant of the criminal activity of this agency, which is informing, facilitating what is this public corruption, which is why they're also being disbanded. P.O.C. greeting you with the entity that's conspiring your murder, acting directly, is an unlawful threat posed by those that committed kidnapping on June 16, 2022 at this same venue. Where I'm showing you the fake sun is remaining, that is indeed a kidnapping under federal law. Okay, that's the P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 10:07 a.m. This is who Rosa and her, all her gang stalking kids, they're gang stalking. Her social workers are gang stalking with the state of California. They're inside of this library engaging in what are a series of federal offenses. They're terrorists. Where the airport is stalking here, where the police are stalking here, this is where the people of the state are engaging in that. Remember my documentation, when I'm stating Ontario Airport in, I come here and the Ontario police park their vehicle right here in the middle of the afternoon as I arrive. This is the pattern of conduct. Okay, this is P.O.C. Gerber is parked at the Ontario Town Square at 6 p.m. during daylight savings time. While the fake sun is over me, engaging in surveillance, that's the P.O.C. This is the entity gang stalked by Southwest Airlines in concert with the entity Jay Sandoval at 8 in the morning. Oh, it is Gerber. Hello there. This is P.O.C. Is that why you were parked by there? You were here to see me parked down there?
Well, I'm patrolling this area.
Oh, okay.
Hey, this paperwork
this
right
is
now
this is the pattern of conduct. It's 10 a.m. Excuse me, let me get it on video.
This is formally banning you from the library for the next year, so you come back, you could be arrested.
Who is giving me that?
The city is.
Why?
The administrator.
What happened?
It's written down here.
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know the exact reason. They just asked me to serve it to you.
Okay. So who is they?
The director of the library.
And what's their name? So you just come around handing out paper when I'm coming to the library? Have you been reporting every day?
Yes.
So you had a meeting. Let's get the facts on. So you are here before the library opens. I walk to the library. You're engaged in presence outside of the library, and then you're coming and giving me a paper that somebody inside the library gave you before I arrived.
I went and picked up this.
And you knew who I was by identity. You drove up, you drove back, and you came forward, and then you're coming and delivering me a paper, right?
Yes.
And this is because of what? What happened? You're just excluding. This is a public venue.
Something about filming people in the restroom. I don't
like
know.
What? Filming people in the you don't know, but you're giving me a ban. You don't know, like when I'm molesting children, and you don't know about that either. But you engage in kidnapping.
Are you saying you're molesting children?
This is it. No, this agency has stated that, made unfounded allegations, which is why you're mysteriously giving me this. Is this supposed to have authority under the law?
The back of it has how you can appeal it.
I understand this is the city of Ontario. This is the city of Ontario that's harassing.
Hey, Jesse.
While you're engaging in, hold on, is my name on it?
What do you mean with Kevin?
This is the same C.
Yeah.
Gerber that's under the fake sun at 6 p.m. by the way. This is also gang stalking with the entity that's engaged in this P.O.C. Nothing happened. I'm going to document this, Gerber. You're crazy if you think I'm not. There's nothing that happened. Nothing that happened with regard to a confrontation other than the entity harassing. What about Rosa and the one that's the ones that are yelling at me in the library? This is the P.O.C. Is there something that happened there? Am I the only one that's being excluded?
Is there something that happened?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to Sean Thrasher. I greet him every morning. What happened?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? So you're just handing over the same department that's gang stalking?
Sure. Here you go.
Sure. Was that an admission?
Sure.
Okay, so what's the process for refuting this? Because it's felonious. And it's also erroneous.
Right here. You can explain it. You got more legal knowledge than I do.
How do you know that?
Weren't you a former attorney?
Who told you that? No, I didn't. We never had a conversation. You battered me, but we didn't have a conversation about my background.
You told me about that.
No, I have not. You're a liar.
Here you go.
I documented my encounters with you. You're gang stalking here. There wasn't a conversation, and gang stalking at the bus stop.
Just take the paper.
And you know me on a first name basis. These are a series of admissions while they're gang stalking.
Sure
and this is the city of Ontario that's engaging in the P.O.C. And exclusion is an unlawful basis because of the intent to obstruct justice while they're gang stalking. That's what Southwest Airlines is doing. I just want to be clear. And this is relevant to Paul Leon. They all know that they're being documented, and they are also aware of the fact that it's being published on the venue of the internet. While you are fearful because you are going to prison in your tacky glasses while you have a gun on your waist and engage in what is an unlawful threat because you are engaged in the pattern of conduct, that's an unlawful threat communicated by all of you equally when you're engaging in kidnapping. This is supposed to be authoritative because you're wearing that uniform and you don't even represent actual authority. You are a coward. You're scared because I'm putting the information that you're committing on the internet. So I got to go to the city hall and document them? Yeah, I'll do that. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity. This is exactly what the city of Ontario has been engaging in. And this is, again, before nothing is occurring other than Rosa and her son, which I've been documenting the entire time. And by the way, while I am while I'm outside, first of all, what are you violating while I'm outside capturing the fake sun? The beautiful sky space? What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. And you don't know. Of course, he has no idea. He has no idea what's going on. He's delivering it to me. He's here anticipating my arrival, and he's giving me some mysterious exclusion. While Sean Thrasher knows exactly what it is that's being documented about him, while there's no conversation with him, there's no encounter with him, this is the entity that's engaging in surveillance. And this is surveillance right now. This is demon possession. This is light activity. This is light activity committed by somebody that's bearing a gun. And also is a coward, okay? They're engaged in this conduct, stalking by helicopter. The evidence is too heavy, and they're engaged in that P.O.C. Jay Sandoval is gang stalking under the 8:38 a.m. fake sun, by the way, as a matter of evidence. But I just want to document this. This is from the city of Ontario that is engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. Okay? This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:12 a.m. This is the entity that's engaging in psychopathic pacing on behalf of this agency. The entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct while this fake sun is here at 4 p.m. That's the same entity that's handing over a letter that's from the city of Ontario after nothing has precipitated this form with regard to exclusion. But the entity that I'm documenting and speaking to security about, security that's gang stalking nonetheless, while the entity is harassing me inside of that venue, yelling at me across the room, making unfounded accusations about what I'm doing on my phone because you know what I'm doing on my phone, which is also not unlawful. All right, this is the entity that's conspiring murder, and that's the P.O.C. with regard to the entity that doesn't want the published kidnapping on June 16, 2022 on the internet, the entity that's hostile to publishing the evidence of the gang stalking neighborhoods on the internet. That's the entity that's engaging in that while I'm documenting and simultaneously prosecuting the hostile mayor who's right here in relevant position where the fake sun is still here in the evening. That is what has no authority under the law. That's what commits kidnappings. That's what's sharing that criminal pattern of conduct. And this is supposed to be the strong arm enforcing that criminal surveillance. This is why 4'2" urine-reeking third parties have the audacity to jump in front of you like they're going to batter you, like they're going to harm you, because they have these puppets behind them, gang stalking with them. That's why. That's an unlawful threat. This is the entity. Remember the fake sun that I'm capturing after 3 o'clock in the afternoon? It's in the same position. I step outside of the same entrance after 3 p.m. This is the P.O.C. And I just want to be clear. This is a concession to defeat. This is the U.S. government that's been engaging in this on an ongoing basis. This is the entity that's engaging in that while they are hostile to being exposed, not only as demons, but as criminals engaged in surveillance in furtherance of murder. All right. But I just want to be clear. Those are the principal matter. As a matter of what is the immediate issue, this is an entity that's engaged in what is exclusion by the same city that's gang stalking. This is the city that's engaged in what is discrimination based on what is their criminal activity seeking to obstruct justice. And that's just in the courtroom. Sean Thrasher is going to federal prison, and this is ongoing evidence of that. This is an entity that's engaged in what is unfounded accusations, nothing occurring. You don't call the police to the desk inside of the computer when you're talking about I'm recording. Who am I recording? And what accusations are you making? Oh, that didn't work. That doesn't look too good when it's on my YouTube channel, because you don't have any basis of knowledge regarding what I'm doing on my device. So you have them mysteriously arrive and meet me outside before I enter in order to hand me this document. This is the pattern of conduct, and that was a communicated threat regarding kidnapping, not a lawful arrest. Okay, this is not different from Craig Hazelwood and Owens engaging in kidnapping and referring to the municipal code, while they're engaging in federal stalking under Title 18, because of the fact that they are being documented. And this is while the entity is engaged in that P.O.C. with the federal government that is not interfering. This is the entity that's engaging in stabbing my foot at night, putting needles in my body, hovering over me day and night, stalking, flying, and literally in this video, there's no airport over here. Gerber is gang stalking while handing me this document on behalf of the City of Ontario, OVITT Family Community Library, who are hostile demons, fully caught, embarrassed even, with regard to the level of evidence that they are engaged in vagina monitoring, that they're stalkers. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:15 a.m. And this is, again, C. Gerber, who's engaged in assault and battery at the bus stop at 537 Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun's not rising anymore. He's also engaged in gang stalking after 6 p.m. surveillance, just like he is now. And that's the evidence that's serving to prosecute that department as well. When you're looking at the maintenance of this light source, this engineered environment, when you're showing what is that agency. And this is the agency with the entity that's maintaining surveillance in venues such as the library. The entity's maintaining, remember, he's here handing me this while the entity's keeping the fake sun over the Stater Brothers parking lot until after 12:50 in the afternoon. This is gang stalking, and this is gang stalking with the intent to obstruct justice. And this is after no events have occurred with regard to excluding me. I've been documenting, and I'm not documenting because I'm some covert criminal. This is the entity that engages in what are celebrating what is a concession to defeat, while they think, oh, we've stopped her now. They've been doing this for years, and they're going to prison. That security guard's going to prison. That's Securitas. That's Brightview gang stalking. That's why they're over here monitoring while I'm taking pictures of them. They're monitoring with this demon over here who engaged in pacing before he approached me, knew exactly who I was. And that knowledge is proven through the environment. Not because he said my name. He's a demon. This agency is monitoring. That's what they're showing with the helicopter activity. License 1591659. The entity in June of 2025 at 1:07 p.m. This same agency, a gang of them right here, gang stalking as I'm walking from Starbucks. The fake sun is here. It includes a casada amongst that gang. They don't have authority to engage in it, but this is what you're going to prosecute for, and this is the basis of federal prison for Sean Thrasher. They're gang stalking with the City of Ontario that are utilizing the P.O.C. with regard to exclusion, because I'm documenting them. That's P.O.C. Okay? It is currently 10:16 a.m. I just want you to see how the fake sun moves as I move, all right, while he is stalking in the path. And it's no longer over that apartment building, in other words. City of Ontario is engaging in the pattern of conduct they're doing so. That's impossible light moving across the wall while that demon is operating a police vehicle. That's the pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct is directly rebutting any authority under the law, and this is the entity that's acting with the intent to obstruct justice. And they're referring to filming a female in the bathroom. This is nothing that happened yesterday. So I just want to document that. This is the entity that's engaging in what is seeking to obstruct. Let me put this on video. Under the fake sun that's moving as I move. The entity has the fake sun, as I've shown you, pointing through this window after 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the evening. It's right over me right here, where the city utilizing the resources of the city to engage in the pattern of conduct. On March 2nd, it came to our attention after no one is addressing, no one says anything about me filming people in the bathroom. I'm filming people in the bathroom. This is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. I'm documenting yesterday. I go into the restroom. I'm referring to my phone's not even working, actually, while I am walking in, and Sean Thrasher is gang stalking me with confidence because he knows my phone is powered off. I'm referring to the Ontario police who were stalking by helicopter at the Ontario Village Shopping Center at 10:29 a.m. I stepped back outside of the entrance after going downstairs to the restroom, where I'm not even referring to any third party that was in the restroom in the morning yesterday, March 2nd, 2026. This is an entity that is ceaselessly engaged in bathroom monitoring, and this is not, C. Gerber's a gang stalker. They're not ignorant of this. This is the entity that, like I said, you can always refer to my evidence because I'm maintaining ceaseless documentation. This is the prosecution of Paul Leon. This is a function, this is an act of the City of Ontario. You are literally stalking with impossible light while you're handing out, wearing a uniform and a gun and a badge as though you have authority, and you are not while you are gang stalking. You are not while you are engaging in that surveillance system. That's the P.O.C. And this is also, all of this is erroneous. None of this didn't even happen. And I documented what happened yesterday. Okay, they're always gang stalking. They're doing so while they're inside the bathroom and also outside of the bathroom. They don't have to be physically present. But the entities engaged in the P.O.C. with regard to finding a reason and writing it down with regard to the pattern of conduct seeking to exclude when they are facing very damning evidence. And Sean Thrasher, I want to be clear, this effeminate a third party does not like the fact that he's being exposed on the internet as one who's going to prison, and he is. He committed kidnapping for the same bases, unlawfully excluding from the library. You're making up reasons, and any reason that you make up, especially while you're not excluding the ones that are harassing me, yelling at me inside of the library, or calling me out of my name, engaging in that ongoing harassment, and the entities engaging in what is making up events to exclude me because I am exposing them. Because those that are harassing inside of the library are doing so the Ontario Police Department in concert with the entity that's stalking, and doing so as a statewide effort. This is relevant to that ongoing intent to obstruct justice. I just want you to see while the fake sun moves as I move. Remember, the fake sun's over me at City Hall at 12:51 p.m. Remember the evidence of what I'm publishing online, it's all informing. I'm doing several things at the same time. I'm publishing the people of the state as I walk through the neighborhood, putting that on the internet. I'm also referring to Paul Leon, who's engaged in the pattern of conduct, the entity gang stalking me by helicopter at the Ontario City Hall, which is speaking to knowledge that mayor has. He's not a mayor, he's a domestic terrorist. The entity's engaged, and you also are aware when the fake sun is over me at your office, you are gang stalking, and you are intentionally and knowingly gang stalking. Not only that, the entity's engaged in what is stalking by the Ontario International Airport, which I'm capturing on video while I'm coming to the back of this library yesterday, and the entity has it over peeping over the edge, which you see is never the case. Okay, this is the entity that's stalking with the light source, and they're doing so as an entity that's engaging what is monitoring evidence and seeking to exclude. This is an imp coming outside to gang stalk outside. All right, this is the one that looks like he works with IT, monitoring inside of the library and monitoring outside with the Ontario City Hall. I just want you to see that. The entity is maintaining that pattern of conduct. You're looking at C-GERB or gang stalking and combining that with the provision of what is an erroneous basis. But I just want to be clear, when you're documenting the entity that's conspiring your murder, gang stalking you, there is no basis for them to engage in what is under all circumstances obstruction of justice. This is an entity that is, in other words, they're very scared. They are very scared, and the entity that doesn't have any basis to, because I'm not a criminal, and I'm beating them at their own stupid and psychotic game with regard to, oh, I'm not monitoring you, I'm not stalking you. Okay, well, I'm not recording you. What are you talking about? And why are you raising your voice and yelling? What are you frustrated about? And then the entity is engaged in what is criminally summoning me after nothing has happened. You make up events and information, just like what you see on this paper. And this is a documented pattern as well. This is while the entity is looking at me publish evidence from 2022. This is all relevant to obstruction of justice, and it is seeking to, it is serving to enhance what are charges, what is sentencing, what is damages. This is the pattern of conduct. It is currently 10:22 a.m. This is the entity that's acting with the intent to obstruct justice. I just want to be clear, that was indeed an employee that's coming out of the venue to gang stalk me. I am the focal point, and you know that because of the fake sun. The fake sun is over me here at 12:51 p.m. I documented that in July of 2025. This is P.O.C. Currently, that's Union Pacific in the background. They're monitoring on my device. And I'm outside of the Ontario City Hall in the OVITT Family Community Library under the 10:30 a.m. fake sun. The entity is maintaining the light source over the Stater Brothers parking lot, like I documented, where they're engaged in psychopathic pacing, flying in circles over the top of my head, as I documented on Sunday. And as I juxtapose that with the maintenance of the light source over the OVITT Family Community Library, the City of Ontario that's engaged in what is an unlawful exclusion with the intent to obstruct justice upon malicious and disingenuous assertions regarding what is an investigation of the city, and the city is claiming to be engaging in an investigation of myself while they are engaging in what is sexual violence and trying to deflect with regard to asserting that my investigation of their sexual violence is my engagement in sexual violence. So I want you to see what is number one, this document. So let me just open this up. This is the entity that's gang stalking simultaneously. That's what Gerber is engaging in. This is relevant to, it says March 2nd. So this came to their attention yesterday. It came to our attention March 2nd that you were filming patrons in the women's restroom. This is what came to their attention yesterday. And then how that came to their attention, I just want to be clear. This is uneventful. I'm doing something as sexually violent as filming people. I'm violating their privacy. I'm capturing images of their vagina. I'm crawling in trying to violate them. What exactly am I doing? Nobody said anything about it. Nobody's complaining. Oh, please, stop filming me in the bathroom. This is the entity that's claiming that allegation, and no events. I would have documented it. The entity's engaging on March 2nd. It came to our attention. This is when they're stating that it came to our attention yesterday that you were filming library patrons in the women's restroom without their knowledge. That's a lie. The engineer light and the fake sun and the stalking by the Ontario police in the airport and posting these videos online. This is an entity that's engaging in. Yesterday, they found out, it came to their attention that I'm filming in the bathroom and I'm posting it online. So what about yesterday brought that to their attention? The entity is engaging in what is upon investigation. You're talking about March 2nd. We found that February 25th, you posted a video to YouTube depicting library patrons in the women's restroom. This is an entity that's in depicting what? First of all, I just want to be clear. But not only that, this is the entity that's engaging in surveillance. Surveillance that's occurring in a bathroom is an exceedingly violent sex offense. This is an entity that's actually engaging in sexual violence and has repeatedly, time and time again, sought to deflect away from what they know is coming, a prosecution as sex offenders. But I just want to get to their timeline. They're stating that March 2nd at 3:45. You're talking about 3:45 in the afternoon. This is when it comes to their attention. They engaged in what is unlocking the computer that I was on. I secured that computer, locked the screen, and they're engaging in what is unlocking that computer. This would be the only means whereby they're stating, oh, we stumbled upon this information. We didn't know already. We stumbled upon it. 3:45 is a reference to the video that I captured yesterday afternoon with the fake son that's over the same library, which is evidence of them engaging in what is sexual violence in the bathroom surveillance. Okay, so the entity's engaging in what is, again, they're engaged in surveillance. So this is the entity that thinks that they're not clever. While they're engaging in surveillance, I'm engaged in documentation of their surveillance. So at 3:45 p.m., first of all, I was sitting at the computer. And I'm still in operation of the computer. I do lock the computer, and what I did observe yesterday is as I locked the computer and walked away to capture video at 3:58 p.m., right before they're stating 3:45 p.m., the entity, while I'm still in operation. So what's happening at 3:45 p.m., because I'm sitting at the computer and there is no event happening other than them gang stalking and pacing all around me and under a fake sun, which I capture video of. And I'm referring to the welfare recipient, this homeless person and her family. All her kids are sleeping outside in a van that belongs to someone else, smelling of urine, and are harassing me while they are gang stalking, and they are conceding what is knowledge of documentation. Because you have an unintelligent third party, the entity is excluding me because they are unintelligent and I am using their unintelligence against them. Remember, one stupid third party is the whole entity. That's the Ontario police. A stupid state actor, that's a whole entity. But nonetheless, this is about an entity that's engaging in what is acknowledging what they should not be aware of. Because you're in custody of your phone does not mean you're I'm documenting you. And why are you assuming that you are even I don't even know you and not concerned in the same way that you don't know me, you're not concerned about me. But nonetheless, I want to get to this. 3:45 p.m. This is the time that they're referring to. I want you to recall what I'm documenting on video yesterday at 3:58 p.m.
This is all engineered light.
This is 3:58 p.m. on the podcast. This is the video.
The entity is maintaining the fake sign. Remember, L. Edwards is engaging in criminal summoning right here at where they're parking at the Wells Fargo. This is the same location of the fake sign during the 10 a.m. hour. That illusion is where the entity is gang stalking, and they're doing so with the Ontario police. This is a stalker. Now, you're understanding Rosa is the same entity as 25033G2, who's engaging in what is harassment, engaging in what is asking you questions, whether you are recording them. That's the verbiage that they use when they're engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. The entity has the fake sun this morning where the Ontario police are stalking by helicopter. The entity's engaging in that conduct, that audible activity, which is serving monitoring and furtherance of murder. This is documentation regarding Rosa and her son, also Benjamin and Armando. They're engaging in what is an iteration of the pattern of conduct. And they're inside of the buildings engaged in psychopathic pacing. And their mental illness and the pacing conduct, which is stalking and monitoring by the government, is occurring in that illusion where the fake sun is present, okay? This is the same location when I'm walking in the morning from the Stater Brothers to the same venue. So the entity has it in the same position. The entity's engaged in that while keeping the fake sun and then engineer light creeping farther and farther into the depths of the library. So this is prefacing the documentation here. The entity engaging in what is the second battery of my person. This is puncturing, stabbing the bottom of my feet with needles. These mysterious injuries are relevant to the unlawful threat posed to my life while I am exposing corrupt police officers, corrupt police departments, which is an inherent threat to my safety and my life. That same entity, the City of Ontario, is stalking me, including this morning.
morning at the venue where the fake son still remains. And the third parties that are gang stalking me are inside of the venue, engaging what is raising their voice at me, harassing me. And this is the entity. Remember, it's not actual fear. 9HAK174 is one that I could stomp a mud pie into her face, right? It's not actual fear, it's reasonable fear. And moreover, that's not a third party, that's a third party, not an individual. That's the government stalking you by helicopter that's crossing path in that red Tesla. A coward that feels like they are 4 feet tall when they reek of feces, that they have some basis to engage in harassing you and making allegations. That ongoing audacity, that ongoing boldness is because they are gang stalking with the state. The reality is that that's the government that's harassing. It's the government that's threatening your life with regard to any and all audible activity, whether they're asking if you want a cupcake or whether they are threatening to physically harm you through their physical, that is the express and implied communications of a threat, which is this. Wirenet is gang stalking with Impossible Light. That's a Latino male, and it's a license plate 33787 Robert 3, and they're gang stalking just like the Ontario Police Department are this morning by helicopter, based on the evidence that I was getting ready to show you, that the fake son that's here at 10 in the morning, 10:29 to be exact, is not simultaneously over the Stater Brothers parking lot. And also, it's still remaining here after 4 p.m. As I refer to damning evidence, this is where psychopaths are gang stalking. I want to make sure that you're understanding what you're witnessing. These are the mentally ill engaged in obsessive stalking while I am documenting it. This is the threat that's posed by the Ontario Police Department, which is nothing other than the state in Ontario, California. Any city that I'm going to is acting in the shoes of the state. This is the entity that is inside, reeking of urine. This is Rosa and her son that are engaging what is harassment. These are psychopaths keeping my vagina under surveillance, with the entity stalking me in helicopters and in commercial airline planes, communicating a threat while they are together engaging what is also, again, every single last entity, everybody that is documented, every business, I don't care what venue. Salvador Gomez, he's going to be federally prosecuted for battering, placing needles in my body, while this government is engaging in the pattern of conduct. Every single last one of them are being federally prosecuted. It's an unlawful threat to my life. It's a battery to my person, and the entity is engaging in mysterious injuries. Okay, this is P.O.C. I want to make sure that that's clear. This is a pattern of conduct, psycho-pacing by minor children in the engineer light on top of light. It's coded engineer light. It's P.O.C. And this is where Sean Thrasher was gang stalking this morning at 10:29 a.m. into the fake son. Yeah, that's the P.O.C. He's going to prison. It's currently 4:02 p.m.
Okay, that's the video that I captured yesterday afternoon. And what you see me doing on the video, you're listening on the podcast, so you can't see what I'm doing. I'm on the internet, on Wi-Fi, which they're monitoring in real time, so that's why it's moving so slowly. Looking at the video documentation that I captured yesterday regarding what the entity is claiming came to their attention at 3:45 in the afternoon, and the allegations regarding the pattern of conduct. This is the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Oh.
Are you the one that entered the code before and tried to break in?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if the door is locked, it's going to stay locked. I'm not.
This is the entity that's engaging what is monitoring on the venue of the internet and doing so in the bathroom. All right, this is what I documented at Stater Brothers.
Yes.
The entity is sounding helicopter activity as I'm showing damning evidence regarding the sexual violence that Stater Brothers and OVITT family community share. It's not a coincidence that they're making unfounded, unsupported evidence regarding what they would like to contend. They're not engaging in surveillance, and I'm the one that's engaged in filming women. I'm some perverted lesbian, and it's not the people of the state. They're the perverted lesbians. Just want to be clear. It's 10:42 a.m. This is exactly what they did flying over at 10:29 on video when I'm referring to the video of the fake son over the same entrance at 4 p.m. This is the entity that just engaged in via C. Gerber with a gun on his waist, handing over a letter regarding what are false allegations while they're engaging in surveillance and obstruction of justice. This is bathroom monitoring at Stater Brothers. This is what I documented. And the entities on the venue of the internet seeking to slow it down because they don't want you to see that. They're going to, C. Gerber's already going to prison, and so is Sean Thrasher. While they're engaging what is multiple things at the same time. I'm putting the people of the state on the internet, their neighborhood, the neighborhoods, their license plates, their addresses. I'm documenting sexual violence, the pattern of conduct shared amongst OVITT Family Community Library, those sex offenders monitoring in a bathroom, stalking in a bathroom with that agency that's stalking by helicopter. And C. Gerber is stating, oh, I don't know anything that you're talking about. He's under the fake sun at the same location after 6 p.m. This is the entity that is together engaging in this conduct exclusion, which is unlawful. While you're conspiring murder, it is unlawful. It's an unlawful threat to the life while you've been engaged in monitoring my vagina. The inhumane sex offense, the perpetual sex offense. And then you're engaging in what is exclusion and threatening kidnapping because I'm documenting that. That's what's relevant behind what I'm showing you yesterday.
you the one that entered the code before and tried to break in?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if the door is locked, it's going to stay locked. I'm not going to let you in here with me.
Well, I know that. I'm just wondering if you're going to be going or if you're going to stay in there.
I will, but I'm using the restroom. Thank you. You came from home to use the bathroom in public? All right. This is an engineer light. P.O.C. And they're doing it while they know that I'm documenting. So that's the demons. Remember, the Ontario police are stalking by helicopter? This is impossible light activity. And the fake sun is...
This is the shared pattern at OVITT Family Community Library, what you just heard, while they're monitoring my evidence, stalking by helicopter, that ongoing pattern of being a stalker using helicopter and also engaging in that tactic of stalking me while I point out very damning evidence. This is shared with Stater Brothers, who is engaged in what is stalking me in concert with the Ontario Police by helicopter. This is the entity that just engaged in what is exclusion from the library, and they don't have any right under the law to do so, especially when you are engaged in criminal surveillance to further into my murder, and I'm documenting that and putting it on the internet, where you did not learn about anything. This is the entity that's engaging in what is stalking in plain view. See, Gerber is going to federal prison, and so is Sean Thrasher. This is the work of what is the City of Ontario. Paul Leon's pictures inside of that OVITT Family Community Library. That's the City of Ontario. This is the entity that's engaging in conspicuous surveillance. It's not a security guard. She's a vagina monitor with a bad wig. She's gang stalking. She's engaging in what is sexual assault and battery at nightfall when they're molesting with light, just like I documented Securitas doing when I stood right here and the airport is stalking and my shadow's appearing on this palm tree. This is the entity that is stalking with light, and they're doing it in this video right now where I'm showing you the entity is engaging in surveillance, aware of what I'm documenting. This is the sexually violent pattern of conduct shared with Stater Brothers, where the fake sun is remaining, by the way, as still on Sunday, and it's not over the Ontario City Hall, the OVITT Family Community Library, the City Hall, where the entity is stalking by helicopter. This is the entity that's engaging in what is breaking into the bathroom, monitoring in the bathroom, making false allegations about what I'm doing in the bathroom while I'm exposing what you are doing in the bathroom. And there wasn't anything that even happened yesterday, March 2nd, with regard to what came to your attention. What came to their attention is bathroom monitoring that I documented and published at Stater Brothers. And then the entity is talking about an investigation. What investigation are you conducting when you're engaging in surveillance and harassing me and threatening me with the Ontario Police, both as I enter and exit this venue, where you are indeed engaged in surveillance in that bathroom? And you are spooked because you're looking at that pattern as I'm showing it at a different place, such as the Stater Brothers restroom. This is the entity that's engaging in that. There is nothing that was learned yesterday other than the fact that this isn't even new. I've been documenting Sean Thrasher as a sex offender. He doesn't like the commentary. So you engage in, this is exactly what they do. They commit murder when you expose them. They commit kidnappings. They engage in the very allegation that they are guilty of is what they are accusing. This is a very poor deflection, especially while the gang stalkers that you're co-conspiring with are stalking, proving that you're engaging in a pattern of conduct. Targeting while you are also doing so as I am proving that you are sexually violating me. And you're pointing to events that did not occur. So this is the entity that's engaged in. This is what I documented yesterday. This is also relevant to what the entity is claiming that they learned about in my documentation. So this is the entity that's stating that it came to their, let me give you a live picture of that. I'm going to give you a live picture also of the video. I want to show something else at 1500. This demon is monitoring. She's monitoring. She's a psycho. She drives off as soon as I access the March 3rd, 2026 folder. Okay. She's monitoring in concert conspicuously, right in plain sight, with the Ontario Police Department. In the same way that they are over here as well. This is conspicuous surveillance as well, but they're inside of all of the buildings engaged in that, including Paul Leon. P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the video that I captured at what is 3:58 p.m. Hold on 1 second.
Alright, this is all engineered light. This is all impossible light activity. The entity is maintaining the fake sign. Remember L. Edward.
City of Ontario is monitoring with the amplification of dumpster trucks.
Summoning right here at where they're parking at the Wells Fargo. This is the same location of the fake sun during the 10 a.m. hour. That illusion is where the entity is gang stalking, and they're doing so with the Ontario Police. This is a stalker. Now you're understanding Rosa is the same entity as 25033.
This video was captured at 3:58 p.m. The entities engaging in the P.O.C, and I want to be clear what I am stating. I want to repeat to make sure that you are able to hear what it is that I'm stating in case the signal goes out. The entities engaging in what is maintaining the pattern of conduct, and are stating that at 3:45 p.m. when I am seated at the computer inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, and you are also seeing through the documentation showing that the entity is disingenuous, that is malicious, while they're engaging in surveillance and seeking to obstruct justice, because I'm documenting bathroom monitoring as a sexually violent pattern amongst the City of Ontario and Stater Brothers, while the entity is stalking with the Ontario Police Department, including by helicopter, and the Ontario International Airport, while the entity is engaged in that, including while I'm capturing video at 10:29 in the morning at the OVITT Family Community Library. I'm showing you at what is 3:58 in the afternoon. This is the fake sun at the same library. Number one, they're engaged in what is surveillance. This is already invalid. Okay. Second of all, the entity is engaged in what is making allegations where there is no event. No one's saying anything. And the reason why they're not saying anything is because there's nothing to say. What are you going to say? Because I'm immediately going to ask a question. Who am I filming in the bathroom? What makes you think that I'm filming someone in the bathroom? Why would I want to be filming you in the bathroom in the same way? Why are you stalking me? Because you are. And I have the facts to prove that. You are actually stalking, and you are obsessed with me. And even the unthinkable reason is because you are demon-possessed, gang-stalking sex offenders. They are in fact mentally ill. These are murderers and sex offenders that are engaging in this cult conduct, and it is the government engaging in a criminal pattern of conduct. That's the answer as to why they are engaging in it. While I'm dealing with these worker demons all around me inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, the entity is engaging in all manner of concessions, stalking by helicopter, as I am also pointing out damning evidence, just like in this video right now. The entity is engaging in what is stalking in this environment. The fake sun is over me at this video where C. Gerber is under this fake sun right now this morning at 10 o'clock. It's over me at the same entrance right now at 3:58. This is simultaneously prosecuting the invalidity of this notice, a documented pattern. The entity is engaged in this with the same department for years, including by those that commit kidnapping, like T. Cho. He's a kidnapper who responded to what is an act of criminal summoning in February 2022. Sean Thrasher is going to federal prison. You have the entity that is engaged in what is that criminal pattern of conduct, and you're committing kidnapping while you are making false allegations, okay? Malicious allegations, because I am exposing you as a vagina monitor, an unthinkable and embarrassing sex offense. And the entities engaging in this while they're stating 3:45. I'm capturing this video at 3:58 p.m. and there is an absence of any evidence of me documenting the sex offenders in the bathroom. Okay, yesterday, there is no evidence of that, and all my evidence has been sitting on the Google Drive. So you also know that I'm not going on there and deleting it. I'm in order before I capture this video. I'm including anything and everything in the podcast, and also my credibility is already established. You're looking at the government that is not stopping this entity from stabbing my feet at night with needles. The government that is being shown to be a sex offender from at different venues, Stater Brothers, which is the same entity, gang stalking me at that bathroom, and gang stalking in the way I've been showing for years at the OVITT Family Community Library, sex offenders who are providing what is a mysterious document after nothing happened. Nobody said anything to me about allegations, which is an unfair and that's an arbitrary process, which is a violation by the city, while they're engaging what are making false allegations and in real time engaging what is harassing and terrorizing me, meeting me outside after nothing happened. This is an entity that is not giving an attempt to respond by clearly a basic inquiry, as in the event with regard to what it is that you're stating. At the very most, what is it that you're talking about? Some investigation on February 25th. When you're talking about some investigation on February 25th, well, we're starting out with what you stated occurred on March 2nd. What came to your attention that led to your investigation and you're finding something on February 25th? It doesn't even make sense with regard to the chronology, but it does make sense when you're engaged in surveillance and you already know about what's being published on the internet, including your identity and the appropriate labels of being a vagina monitor that are placed in position with this department that is in this video stalking by helicopter and by commercial airline planes. While this fake sun is remaining, like I'm showing in this video, at 3:58 p.m. That is what would make sense with regard to the failed logic here with regard to what came to your attention on March 2nd, that I was filming people in the bathroom, and there is no evidence of me documenting anything in the bathroom specifically yesterday, but I did document in the bathroom with regard to the entity breaking in, violating me in the bathroom yesterday at Stater Brothers, where they are sharing that pattern of conduct. This is all of the evidence, because I'll show you all the pictures in the and all the screenshots. This is a prosecution, and it's a prosecution happening on the internet. This is relevant to the entity that's stabbing my feet at night, and I'm documenting it because all of the entity, every license plate, every librarian Okay, the gang stalking mayor. They are an entity conspiring my murder while the entity stalking me by helicopter. They are engaging in violence overnight, stabbing my feet with needles and doing so, and I'm waking up in pain while the entity is engaged in what is stalking me at this OVITT Family Community Library under a fake moon. This is the same location where the fake sun is at right now. This is where the fake moon is at, where they're stalking at nightfall. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while they're referring to what was brought to their attention. These are bad liars who are engaging in surveillance, and they cannot come up with a narrative to make me appear as though I am engaging in what is sexually violent conduct. I'm just in the bathroom filming girls because I want to invade their privacy in the bathroom. The entity's engaged in what is violating me, trying to break into the bathroom, and that's what I'm documenting at Stater, but it's not even at OVITT Family Community Library. These puppets, these zombies, are stalking and engineer light inside of the library. The demons, the librarians, are stalking with noise, coming in and out, pacing out of the administration door. They're doing so while they're lining the path, maintaining surveillance inside of the library, doing so in engineer light, and I'm juxtaposing this with the fake sun that's still sitting over the Ontario Village Shopping Center for 6 hours on Sunday. So how would it even be any sort of sunlight if that's the sun? And this is the back portion where I'm facing right now. I'm facing the back portion of this library right now, where there is no vantage point, where even now where the fake sun is beyond that building, that sunlight is going to shoot like a laser inside of that building. It's impossible light activity. They are engaged in surveillance. But moreover, I want you to refer to the fact that this entity is engaging in this documentation. I'm engaging in this documentation, and the entity is engaging in what is a narrative that makes no sense, and it makes no sense chronologically either. The entity is engaging in what is surveillance when you're looking at the multiple shadows. The entity is engaged in what is pacing, harassing me, yelling at me in the middle of the library, and doing so at what is 1:52 in the afternoon. This was not at 3:45 p.m. I didn't go outside and get video until 3:58 p.m. And when I came back to the computer that I was sitting on, this is the computer I was sitting on, working on my channel, and I locked this computer, and I came back to the computer and it was unlocked. That is not a basis, by the way, of an investigation. And by the way, when just looking at this, you're not even going to know unless you are the subject of the documentation. Just looking at this is not telling you anything about what I'm doing in the bathroom, but you do know when you are the one that's violating my vagina and monitoring, and I'm documenting it. But there is no, in the physical, in the real world, with regard to absent your knowledge about what I'm doing on my device, which demons do, and the entity that's engaging in surveillance in the specific environment do, that you would have any idea or even be concerned or even suspect or accuse with unfounded, you're behaving like a paranoid schizophrenic, that I'm filming you in the bathroom. But the entity unlocked the computer, and I want to be clear, the name of my channel is The Pattern of Conduct. The channel shows a whole bunch of videos, so you've engaged in what is an investigation regarding February 25th, and you're doing so based on something that was brought to your attention on March 2nd, when there was nothing that was documented in the bathroom at OVITT Family Community Library on March 2nd. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in surveillance through all of the people of the state. And there was nothing that occurred yesterday, but the entity engaging what is harassing me through the people of the state who are not excluded from the library. They're engaging what is harassing me on behalf of the entity that can't go around yelling and screaming at me, because the question would be, why would you do that? And it's also inappropriate, and it's suspicious on its face, because there's nothing that's happened between us, unless you are the gang stalker that I'm documenting you as. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging what is poor acting in that specific environment. That's why I'm letting you know it doesn't matter what you act like. It doesn't matter what your facial expression is while they're engaging in that. The entity's engaging in this pattern of conduct, and I just want to be clear, the bathroom monitoring was documented at Stater Brothers yesterday. It's not documented at what is the OVITT Family Community Library, which has the fake sun over it. I just want to be clear, this is poor procedure. This is the city, so this is the government, this is a public venue, while I'm referring to the law and the public venue itself, which has a policy that it should be procedure that it would conform to. And when you're engaged in what is discrimination, you're just excluding me arbitrarily, and also not giving a basic common sense inquiry with regard to what happened. Nobody confronted, nobody said anything, nobody accused me of anything. And the reason why they did it is because it would have been a common sense. What are you talking about? I was in the bathroom. Nobody was in the bathroom with me. What are you talking about? All right. But the entity was engaged in that at Stater Brothers. They share the pattern of conduct. They're very much afraid of what it is that I'm documenting. Like I said, I'm documenting, I'm prosecuting you everywhere that I go, including while you engage in what is presenting, while you're gang stalking, the pattern of conduct. And the entity's engaging in that P.O.C. with regard to seeking to conceal the evidence that they are keeping under surveillance. Okay. So this is just to give a synopsis to put succinctly. You have C. Gerber, who's gang stalking me, and his guise for presence, just like criminal summoning. That is criminal summoning that he's committing. Criminal summoning with regard to the execution of the duties of an officer. He's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, number one. Number two, he uses what is an unlawful exclusion from the venue that is engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder. Number two, as you're dissecting this letter, it is in violation of what would be the appropriate policy regarding what is a public venue. This is a venue of the government. Okay, the city of Ontario, that's engaging in what is excluding while there is no event, nothing that is preceding what are the allegations on here. And as I'm documenting, there is nothing that's happening but my being violated in a bathroom at an entirely different address. And while they're stating that nothing happened, what's coming to your attention when there's nothing that happened at OVITT Family Community Library yesterday? And then when nothing is happening but something came to your attention, you found that on February 25th. And how did you find that? You're referencing my social media that you would be necessarily dissecting, and on February 25th, after nothing happened on March 2nd. This is how you're stumbling across February 25th, 2026, and no video, by the way. Just as an aside, a principal matter, the Ontario Library, the City of Ontario, has no legitimate interest in what it is that I'm documenting with regard to what is freedom of speech. It's not violating their privacy. I'm not capturing their genitalia. I'm not going inside of the bathroom stall, and they are, again, ostensibly not gang stalking. So what I am talking about on my phone, in the same way that they go into the bathrooms with their phones on, including the United States Postal Service. She's in the bathroom. I documented that she was monitoring and she's using her phone. She can talk about whatever she wants. You can't prescribe my speech and you can't prescribe the entity's speech while they're gang stalking me, right? Okay, because they're walking in. So you're, again, it's with regard to what is specific speech. The content is what you're seeking to proscribe, and that's unlawful. And to be in the bathroom with my phone is insufficient. Not only that, there's not even anything that happened yesterday in the bathroom. This is the entity that's engaged indeed in surveillance, which the Ontario police stalking in helicopter in this video is proving. The entity that is stalking with the fake sun still over me at 3:58 p.m. is proving. This is relevant to the entity that's engaged in, and this is the ongoing desperation and the fear that I'm approached with. These are the demons that conspired my murder. Cowards that commit kidnapping because they are fearful. Municipal code and they can't even spell it. They're all ignorant of because they're corrupt. There is a transparent procedure that is in. The privacy, public property, legal issues is an illusion because this is a facilitating venue. They're engaged in surveillance. Okay, and that's a basis I'm going to recover under and prosecute under. However, that's public corruption. However, as they exercise authority under the law that is fictitious, terrorism, because it's facilitating your ability to conspire my murder. Thus, you're gang stalking me in this library, and you're claiming that it excludes you from because you're engaging in what is making false allegations that are unfounded. I did not document any me in the bathroom documenting people because they said absolutely nothing. In fact, Sean Thrasher greeted me as I walked in yesterday while he was gang stalking. Okay, and this is the entity that's engaging in. The only thing that happened yesterday. The entity sought to break into the bathroom while I'm at Stater Brothers. They also sought to harass me through ROSA. These third parties with poor hygiene and not addressing that. But if I were to scare the living daylights out of them and raise my voice and act like I'm going to in front of the employees, it would be something that they would use a basis to call demons like seeking. Is everything okay? We're going to have to exclude you. Oh, goodness. We don't want you freaking out. Okay, you're over here trying to get violent with people. This entity is gang stalking me through harassment inside of this library. I just want to make sure this is litigating this issue on here that's engaged in that because they are scared. Understand where I'm at with regard to the evidence. I'm on June 11, 2020. Watson, R. Guerrero, you have Chiapani, Hadel, the demons that are engaging in kidnapping at this OVITT Family Community Library at 10:29 a.m. They are being embarrassed. I am speaking very coarsely with them. And they made false allegations just like they are now regarding a molestation of a child. Okay, at what point did that happen? Documented from beginning to the end of the day, including the entity stalking by helicopter before they can utilize criminal 22, while Corey Watson has his genitalia in my face while I'm sitting out, and he's arriving out of nowhere pursuant to criminal summoning, stating that somebody called him. Daisy, that's gang stalking inside of the library because these demons are spooked by my evidence. My evidence, which is entirely lawful, especially while the government's the criminal, but it's also lawful because it's relevant to freedom of speech. Obligation regarding protecting your life and safety while the entity is indeed engaged in surveillance, absolutely proven through this supernatural environment where the entity, you can disregard it all you want, but this is why you're being committed. Sean, I just want to be clear, they're not thinking about that. They just want me out of the library right now. They're not thinking about the fact that they're going to federal prison for it.
This is psychopathic pacing under the fake sun, not remaining over the entrance up here, it's remaining over the side next to me where I'm located. This is the same library, all the patrons that are gang stalking, monitoring my vagina, and then the entity engaging what is an admission, it's an implied admission to criminal monitoring surveillance, while they make unfounded allegations, while they engage in mysterious exclusions upon no event occurring, and while they also engage in what is harassing me by the people of the state and not excluding them and harassing them and not making any sort of acknowledgement of it. But they're doing so while the fake sun is remaining over the side of the library, and it's not over the entrance, because I'm not at the entrance where C. Gerber was this morning at 10 o'clock as well. I'm at the same place, so they're pacing outside, and this is a visual of what they're doing inside. They're pacing all around. They maintain presence all around, so everywhere that I go, I'm surrounded. They are engaged in pacing in that regard as well, doing so by plane and helicopter. It's currently 1:07 p.m., and the entity's doing so while I'm publishing the evidence regarding 3:58 p.m. yesterday. I see that it's not published on the YouTube channel. It is published on the G Drive. The evidence is available. It is published on the podcast, but I'm adding it to YouTube right now. And it's also referred to with regard to the criminal act of exclusion from the facilitating venue where the entity is obstructing justice, obstructing access, seeking to, that's an ongoing threat to your life while they're still gang stalking and furtherance of murder. You're going to prison for it. This is P.O.C. This is pacing. They're demons. Now inside the building, they're walking an engineer light that's in the bathroom. It's all over in the library. They have multiple shadows, and it's the same light activity that I'm showing you outside at the same side with the fake moon over me on the side where the airport and the police are stalking by plane and helicopter. And there's the Paul Leon, headquarters for the City of Ontario, engaged in criminal surveillance. The City of Ontario that engaged in a criminal act of obstruction while simultaneously keeping me under surveillance and furtherance of murder. P.O.C. Alright, this is the real-time movement of the fake sun remaining planted over the side of the library, which is where the entity is stalking by the City of Ontario, the airport and the police using helicopter. Where the fake sun is positioned, where the fake moon is positioned, that's where the stalking in the sky space, and that's where the stalking by the people of the state occurs. And it is following to the state facilitating venue of the City Hall, who's engaged in ongoing ceaseless surveillance and relevant position while I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library that wages malicious assertions based on what is the acts to substantiate what is exclusion, while they are referring to policies and procedures that they are abusing in order to engage in obstruction of justice. This is P.O.C. and it's 1:28 p.m. This is where the airport's flying right over the City Hall. Airport over here, the entity is stalking, and then they're stalking while they are using a document which is an admission to criminal monitoring and monitoring of surveillance. P.O.C.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Erica. I haven't been in here before, but this is the City Hall for Ontario, correct? Okay, so I want to find out, I was excluded from one of the city venues, and it was a pretty arbitrary experience, and so I want to find out how can I go about complaining about that, because I deserve access having not, well, not only is it not true, the allegation, but I didn't get nothing happened. It was just an arbitrary, here, you're excluded after no event, nothing whatsoever. I found out about it while I was going to the, well, I'll just let you know, I was going to the library and I was told at the door, you can't go in and you're banned from returning after nothing happened precipitating that.
Why did they say why?
They gave me a document that says why. So my issue is that it was capricious, just arbitrary, out of the blue. And if I do something to you, I would expect for you or somebody else to say, why did you do that? Or did you do that? Or anything. Nothing happened. And I'm going to the venue as usual. And I'm told that I'm banned from that venue. And it's a City of Ontario venue. And so I am aware of the fact that there should be a transparency with regard to you're making allegations that you're certain that I've committed and that I should be subject to what is a fair inquiry. You could have at least asked me, did I do that? Did I do whatever you're accusing me of? So
Do you know who told you were banned?
they had the police come to the library and stop me from entering.
When did this happen?
It happened this morning at 10 a.m. And I was not given an opportunity to ask a question. I wasn't given an opportunity to ask what happened. I was given a piece of paper that says facts, that they are asserting our facts because it says City of Ontario. That's entirely unfair. And I don't get any ability to ask, like, well, what are you talking about? What happened? You know, maybe it's a confusing misunderstanding or something. And that's typically what you're doing when you're in a library where, you know, I'm there every day. And I even...
Who did you speak? Do you know who you spoke to?
Outside, the officer?
No, not the officers. Inside the library.
I didn't get to go into the library today.
You didn't get to go in?
They blocked me from entering, and they came prepared. So this is an officer that already knew my name, like I committed some, serious offense, and he's stopping me in my tracks and telling I'm going to be arrested if I go into the library. And then I'm reading what happened. And so I am genuinely ignorant about what I'm being accused of and why the employees didn't tell me, Erica, you did this, and this is a problem, and this is the violation that you committed, and because of this, we're going to do this and this and this, and you're not going to be permitted. That did not happen. Nobody said anything. Nobody said anything to me, and I do find that
Trying to approach to go into the library.
I was going, just like I walked in right now, the officer was already there. He stops me at the door, and he's like, Erica, he's calling my name. That's disconcerting. I'm not a criminal, but it's disconcerting. He's calling my name. He's got a paper in his hand, and he's like, I've got this paper I want to deliver to you, and you're not allowed to go in the library, and if you go in again, then you're going to be arrested. And I'm asking what happened, and so obviously in that space right then, I have to scramble and look at, he's just going to drive away, and if I go in, then I'm going to get arrested. But I'm looking at, well, what happened? I'm looking at the paper, reading what happened. What are you talking about?
Does the paperwork say what happened?
It does.
Okay, so they're accusing you of what?
They're accusing me of filming people in the restroom. And this is something that, obviously, that sort of allegation is something that would be immediately addressed. Like, why are you filming me in the bathroom? Nothing happened. Nobody said anything. Nobody accused me of that. And obviously, if you accuse me of something like that, that's something I'm going to address.
What
I'm
the
not.
paperwork says.
The paperwork says it, and it says it happened yesterday, and nothing happened yesterday. Nothing.
Okay.
So I do have an issue with the process. That's all I'm saying. It's because you guys are the city. It's the city. So I don't know if they're aware of the standards with regard to the government and freedom of speech and the way that with regard to process. You're supposed to give me at least an opportunity to respond, and then, your employees, you do whatever you're going to do after that. But I didn't even get that, ma'am. I didn't even get that.
And what is your name?
My name's Erica Spencer.
ERICA.
That's a nice ring, by the way. Is that opal?
It is.
Oh, it's pretty. I used to self-find jewelry. It's
And
nice.
Erica, what is your last name?
Spencer.
Spencer. Just to make sure that's spelled correctly, SPENCER.
That's correct.
What's the best contact phone number for you?
I don't use my phone. Hold on. Oh, wait, it's in this pocket. Would it be better to give you email, or do you need a phone number?
However, I can have somebody contact you, as in regards to what happened.
Would you be contacting me today?
I don't know. I would
Okay.
probably say within 72 hours, I would assume.
Let me see. Let me give you a phone number. Hold on. My phone number.
So you can give me an email, you can give me a phone number as well. if you want
I'll
to
try to give you both. Here's my email. It would be, let me see. So I will clarify, I was given a written document about what the allegations are. It's just that it's very problematic the way.
What time of day was this?
It was 10 o'clock. I was going right when the library opened, so 10:01, 10:04 exactly. Because I did document the encounter. It was very disconcerting.
Heading into library. Was stopped. What officer? Do you know the officer?
Yes, I do. He had it on. It's C. Gerber was his name, and he claimed that he did not know. I asked him what happened. He said he didn't know. So one of the Austin
And you have the
document.
You have the
Yeah,
document?
I do. You want it?
Can I see it?
Yes.
Please. If you don't mind.
I'm sorry.
I said if you don't
Oh,
mind.
yeah, sure. What did I do with it? He stated that he didn't know. I asked him, well, what happened? He didn't know. He said
Do
he.
you mind if I take a copy of that?
I don't care. That's fine. That's why I'm here at the city hall. You guys do it. What you will agree with is the process is improper. It's lacking transparency. I did not get any ability to even, confront who is accusing me of whatever after nothing precipitated that encounter. Nothing precipitated it. Nothing precipitated it at OVITT Family Community Library, rather.
Okay. You don't mind if I cut the
Go right ahead, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Hi, good afternoon.
often do you guys have the city council meetings? Are they monthly?
Yes, every first and third Tuesday of the month. First and third. 6:30 p.m.
I should come in here more often, but I'm too busy.
Are you looking for a specific person or just
So Officer Gerber, when he approached you, he just approached you and gave you these?
He called me by name, Erica, stopped me from entering the library and told me that I've been given this document to give to you, and if you enter the library again, you're going to be kidnapped. Oh, you're going to be arrested.
Because it looks like I guess they banned you for
A year. And don't you find that to be extreme after I don't even have any sort of encounter? No one asks me anything, no one says anything. So all I'm stating is not only is the action taken extreme with regard to what is also a lack of any sort of exchange, no director, no employee, no one stating, and especially the allegation. If I'm documenting you or getting you in the bathroom doing something obscene like that, why would you not say anything to me? Why would you not accuse me to my face and watch me lie to you about it or whatever, you know?
yes. So this happened today at 10:04.
Given this document to me at 10:04.
Right, 10:04.
Right, and I will state that the verbiage is very clear. They're stating that something at March 2nd at 3:45 that my engaging in this in the bathroom was brought to their attention, and there was nothing happened on March 2nd at 3:45 p.m. I was sitting at computer station number 1, actually. I know exactly where I was at. It was at 3:45, I was on the computer. And then I went outside of the library at 3:58 p.m. But before that, that was it. So what they're stating brought to their attention, and then upon an investigation referring to February 25th in a YouTube channel, this is all coming from what is uneventful on yesterday. Nothing happened yesterday.
Okay, but it's saying that you were filming and then posting it online.
That's what they're stating, upon what is no event occurring yesterday. So you're talking about making an allegation which is unfounded. What are you talking about a YouTube channel for and videos that are online from what happened yesterday? Nothing happened yesterday. And at the OVITT Family Community Library yesterday, I'm arriving like, 11-ish?
Okay,
No, I arrived yesterday at,
posted a video on YouTube.
that's the allegation. That's the assertion, yes.
In the women's restroom.
That's the assertion.
Okay, so
And that's-
posted Ontario patrons on YouTube.
That's the assertion.
That's what I'm saying.
What I'm stating is, you're talking about, you're stating that you are not engaging in any sort of violation of my rights, okay? You don't ask me about what it is that I'm doing. Is it that you already have information that you think you're certain of, and then you're making up an event to exclude me? Because if that's something that I'm doing, then you should be upfront about that. There was nothing that happened on March 2nd, ma'am. That's what I'm stating. And if you're talking about throwing out something that's on a YouTube channel, which has nothing to do with OVITT Family Community Library ostensibly, and that's a very specific allegation, is relevant to what is actually going on in the bathroom. Because I'm minding my business. I am minding my business. And nobody's accusing me, and no one can say, I'm taking my phone and I'm going under the stall. I'm trying to break into the bathroom stall. There is no rule that says that I cannot use my phone. And you're actually making a lot of assumptions for me to be merely like everyone else. Like when you walk in the bathroom with a phone, which a lot of people do, which is not sanitary, but I'm not going to assume, oh my goodness, you're in the bathroom with a phone, you're recording me. You know, that's a little, disturbing in and of itself. And perhaps that's why nobody made that allegation, because on its face, it's lacking any substance. So I'm given this letter, and then you're making what are unsupported assertions about what on its face doesn't have anything to do with you. Why would you be making that specific assertion? You're making admissions about other activity while you are trying to exclude me from a venue. I have a right to be there. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And with regard to this being a state, this is a venue of the government. You can't just go around proscribing speech like that. You should have asked me, what am I doing? Because especially when you are on the right, you are free to do that. And you know how it is. You know when someone's wrong, you're going to ask a question that you already know the answer to. Did you do this? I know you did it because I was sitting there watching you putting the phone under the stall trying to do something, weird or whatever. That's not what's happening at all. And I do find that to be very problematic.
So did you try to explain that to Officer Gerber?
He was not listening.
Oh, okay. So
And understand the purpose behind that, why you would have an officer approach me as opposed to one of the employees. That was designed. They never intended for me to be able to have a conversation and find out, wait, what happened? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Because you're making allegations. The first question I'm going to say is, what are you talking about? I'm recording people in the bathroom. When did that happen? You're talking about something that happened yesterday, today on the 3rd? Well, how come you didn't, whoever I violated, why didn't they say something yesterday when I was there? There's a lot of questions that come from that. That's all I'm saying. And I don't mean to, I'm not a difficult person, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But if you're wrong and you have a responsibility, that's very unfair. That's very unfair. And it's a very extreme response. You're talking about a year based on you didn't even ask me a question whether it happened. So this is a mysterious accusation, and then you come with the police to give it to me with the intent to not give me the ability to respond to it. This is creating a hardship, and it's discrimination. And that's not appropriate for the city of Ontario. This is something else if it was like, a Starbucks library, but it's not. It's the city of Ontario. So that's why I wanted to come into the city hall. I don't mean to bombard you with this, but it is something like it's hot outside. I was going to relax on the computer in the air conditioning. I have stuff that I do need to do. And this is what I was confronted with this morning. And I find it to be like, okay, this doesn't make, on its face, it makes no sense. And I don't think that they intend for people to use their brain and know any difference. I'm just supposed to take this and, I can't go to the library anymore. That's what happened. That's what they expect to do. That's very unfair. It's very, very unfair. So I just wanted to give you copies of that.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, you wanted to know that I answered your question and some, sorry.
I understand your frustration. I understand that you feel you're being, treated unfairly.
Yeah, but I did want to bring to your attention, if you think that, well, not you personally, but the specific information about a YouTube channel in February, I don't even find that to be relevant, because what happened on March 2nd for you to jump to that information? How is it relevant? What happened yesterday? And bottom line is, why wasn't it brought up to me? I am entitled to that. If you're going to accuse me of stealing from her, why wouldn't you just be like, right then and there, you stole my money? Okay? Like who does that? Yeah. Who does that? That's what I'm saying.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Do you have a restroom that I can use?
We do, right around the corner.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
As you can see, it's 2:57 p.m. and it's Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. It's the same day, and what I'm showing you here is the criminal offense. This is the criminal activity regarding exposing and prosecuting public corruption, and it's affecting the life, the safety, and the well-being of an American citizen. It is pursuant to criminal surveillance, so it is absolutely criminal activity, while the facilitating venue, OVITT Family Community Library, which is also a state facilitating venue, it's the City of Ontario maintaining a library, that is engaged in gang stalking. The entity engaged in what is criminal activity, and doing so while this is the very conduct that C. Gerber and the venue is engaged in, stalking. This is what you're going to pay attention to. The same location where C. Gerber is gang stalking in the police vehicle, vehicle number 1115, where he's stalking right here, turning. Remember, my person is just on the opposite side of the same building. This is the illusion, rising and setting at one place, where the airport is stalking. This is all at the same time exposing what is corruption by the City Hall. Not ignorant about the ongoing terrorism and stalking by an airport. Paul Leon, this Ontario City Hall, that City Council engaging in what is exclusion from a venue where they are gang stalking in real time. That's why they're coming out of Page One Cafe behind me, walking in the engineer light. This isn't sunlight. These are also minors that the City of Ontario are gang stalking with. They're engaging in that under the fake sun that C. Gerber is under at 10:17 on video. C. Gerber is engaging in what is delivering after the absence of any event, nothing precipitating it, nothing other than criminal surveillance of this documentation, an admission to what is surveillance of my YouTube channel, and the entity engaging in what is an unmerited exclusion, not only because they're engaging in criminal activity as the state, but because the entity is manufacturing, engineering facts that don't actually exist. It didn't happen. Nothing happened in the bathroom at OVITT Family Community Library. This is what I litigated in the previous podcast that you already listened to. It is currently 3 p.m. where this entity, including coming out of the city hall, you'll see the images of the Ontario and Ontario is acting in front of Stater Brothers. You're seeing them driving by along that strip where the entity has the fake sun, the fake moon, stalking in the sky space by helicopter, stalking in the sky space by plane. This is what they did right now, pacing. Okay, these are demons, and they're monitoring me while they talk to each other and don't regard me. This is what C. Gerber is doing, gang stalking under the malicious guise of excluding me from the venue, doing so intentionally via a police officer who is no police officer. He's a documented gang stalker. They even deliberately chose him, who was under the fake sun after 6 p.m. at this venue, while they are in that video and in this video at the same location under a fake sun at what is 3 p.m. Psychopathic pacing. These are the demons, including Sean Thrasher, who are knowingly, intentionally, and maliciously excluding with the intent to obstruct justice while they are engaged in the perpetual sex offense and furtherance of murdering me, engaging in what are kidnapping with that same agency, and they're doing so pursuant to what is the absence of any occurrence event, whereby they would exercise fictitious authority under the procedures and policies, the Code of Conduct of the City of Ontario, which clearly is disregarding federal stalking statute, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. The privacy, the human and constitutional rights regarding privacy, while they are engaging in surveillance, and it is a matter of public corruption. This is what I want to document, and the entity is literally engaging in that. What I showed you, the fake sun that's over me at the City Hall, 12:51 p.m. during daylight savings time. We're doing standard time right now. We're going into daylight savings time on Sunday the 8th. I'm at the entrance of the City Hall, which is right here on the same building, and I'm capturing the fake sun over me while I'm holding a conversation with a state actor who knows all about what happened. They are monitoring, and they even are doing so while the fake sun's over me. And this is the City Hall. This is the prosecution of a mayor, removal, while they're threatening my life with regard to stopping access to what? Computers, where I'm publishing the evidence, exposing, maintaining a federal investigation, while the entity that has shown itself to be kidnapping me at any point and at any time, threatening to take my life, conspiring my murder, poisoning me, stabbing my feet with needles at night, while they're engaged in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so with the same actors that are hostile, while I'm showing you about the City of Ontario gang stalking me, present under that fake sun. Don't miss that at 10:04, 10:17 a.m. It's at the same location. This is what the entities engage in, and this is what I documented. The City Hall comes out of the venue to partake in pacing around me, and that's what I'm documenting here. And I will show you. This is the entity right here. They're engaging in what is the ceremonial pacing while the entity is stalking by airplane, doing so while they are monitoring me, and doing so as the City of Ontario that signed a document admittedly engaging in gang stalking me and furtherance of murder. This is 2:26 p.m. It's currently 3:02 p.m. The City of Ontario came outside. This is speaking to the malice of the entire incident. The documentation, while they are admittedly referring to the YouTube, which by the way, the entity should have no information about whatsoever but for gang stalking surveillance. By the way, it's an admission, and it's an unintelligent one. Okay, it's like flipping me off when I'm holding up my camera. You're admittedly aware that, and you shouldn't be, because being in custody of a phone, but for me saying, hey, you stalker, say cheese, you're assuming, and it's quite an assumption, because why would I be concerned about you? You smell like pee, you're overweight, you're dirty, you sleep in a van with your whole family at night. And you're not homeless because you're being gang stalked. You're homeless because you're clearly concerned with other people's lives, and you're not even 30. Okay, this is a young male gang stalking with his whole family that are engaging in that and harassing me while I'm documenting. This is the entity that's engaging in this conduct. Okay, this is the entity that's maintaining this fake sun. This is relevant to what I'm showing you is occurring here. While I am on the venue of the internet showing you the pattern of conduct, as this is where C. Gerber is on video gang stalking me under this fake sun, as I'm showing you at 10:17 in the morning. This is the same exact location. Oh, sorry. That is the exact same location where the entity is stalking me by children, stalking me by the employees of the city of Ontario, who are very much aware of what it is that I'm doing. They're engaged in the pattern of conduct in real time under this supernatural phenomenon where the airport is showing how much they are stalking everywhere that I go under the fake sun and the fake moon. This is getting to the disingenuous nature of that document, which is admittedly engaging in what is providing me evidence that you are engaged in surveillance of my YouTube channel, which, by the way, is no criminal activity, and also the entity has no legitimate interest in proscribing my speech. While I am not violating anybody's rights, being in custody of my phone in the bathroom at that. And I'm documenting criminal conduct where they are, in fact, vagina monitoring, including Sean Thrasher, threatening me today by C. Gerber and that department while you are simultaneously gang stalking. That's the evidence for commitment and the evidence for federal prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:05 p.m. This is in reference to the illusion where reality is that federal prison is mandated upon federal group stalking and monitoring with the intent to obstruct justice, where my life, an American citizen's life, remains under threat even by you, and you are abusing any and every position available to you at your disposal in order to obstruct justice, in order to facilitate and further execute this unlawful surveillance system, which is serving the commission of a murder. That is committed as an entity. Any and every third-party gang stalker and every state actor, including the venues, are prospective murderers. The entity gang stalking is doing so because the gang stalkers commit murder. With regard to this documentation right here, this is the same OVITT Family Community Library. This is the same place where C. Gerber was this morning at 10:17 a.m., 10:04 a.m. Jay Sandoval is standing under the illusion with that same agency at 8:38 a.m. All I'm doing is showing you from the different vantage point, and this is that illusion, the fake sun rising and setting at one location. It is currently 3:46 p.m. where you're looking at that illusion. Jay Sandoval and C. Gerber and Sean Thrasher, the people of the state engaged in harassment, assault and battery, stalking by helicopter, gang stalking, including the state actor you hear me speaking to inside of the city hall. She's the one you see in the burgundy pants with the shoulder length honey blonde hair. She's gang stalking me. And she's the one that I'm speaking to. And she's doing so while aware of what it is that I'm documenting. They're doing it with full knowledge, okay? This is the fake sun. Just to give an illustration, I'll attach the video at 8:38 a.m. where Jay Sandoval, who is gang stalking with regard to criminal summoning, just like C. Gerber this morning, and stalking where the airport is maintaining surveillance at this same exact location. This is P.O.C. This is the federal prosecution of the United States government. I want to be clear, nothing within this evidence, the entity engaged in these desperate acts is not going to cause me under any circumstance to permit a murderer, a serial killer, a co-conspirator of murder, a gang stalker, a sex partner, a spouse of Tracy Banks, anyone, including Jason Isaac Fields, to be in my life or to come around and offer me anything, especially outside of a court of law. It's not happening, and engaging in this criminal conduct is adding years to prison. That's what's happening. This is P.O.C.
This is Ontario Police. They're gang stalking at the Ontario City Hall. And they're committing sexual assault and battery. I documented those license plates already. They've been engaged in surveillance while the Ontario International Airport's been flying plane after plane after plane. They're just sitting at a city hall engaging in surveillance, engaging in psychopathic pacing, and they pace off of the property under the fake moon, where the demon C. Gerber is under the fake sun at 10:17 a.m., 10:04 a.m., which is also setting at 5 p.m. at the same venue. And this is where the people are pacing. Pay attention to their shadows swirling around their person, starting again at the back, swirling around their. These are demons engaging in criminal conduct with the people sharing in demonic activity. The Ontario City Hall that engaged in gang stalking, as I'm documenting a state actor, engaging in what is monitoring, as you hear the conversation captured today at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, while the fake sun is over the Ontario City Hall, where you see the fake moon over the Ontario City Hall at nightfall, remaining cozy over me. The end stalking. Demons are using police vehicles and wearing badges and bearing pistols, engaging in stalking, and then masquerading as law enforcement. That's what C. Gerber is engaging in with the OVITT Family Community Library. This is where the airport is maintaining psychopathic pacing, and they maintained an ongoing ceremony inside of that building of the Ontario City Hall where a bunch of demons gathered together, and they were monitoring me outside of that building. Demons in uniform, holding the American flag,
engaging in what is a criminal system while targeting me outside and inside, engaging in what is that P.O.C. They had their ceremony, which is satanic, under the fake moon, and they gang stalked me on their way off of the property. This is relevant to the letter that was given to me by the agency, not given to me by the OVITT Family Community Library after no event occurred. And I'm showing you that same City Hall employee and all the rest of them pacing all day long under a fake sun that remained right here and set right here. This is the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. where the fake moon is right here. This is P.O.C. This is the prosecution of the pattern of the U.S. government engaging in a pattern of conduct, and that pattern is very clearly defined. And I want to also be clear, this is what an entity is engaging in while they are anticipating a federal prosecution. This is not going to preclude my ability to recover financially. This is not going to force me to be reconciled or associate with any gang stalker. This is not going to make any fake manufactured marriage to me on paper official. The entity that is trying to cut off my ability to publish evidence in order to make somebody that lied about being married to me in the first place, Jason Fields, be in a position to come and give me something that you think I desperately need. This is the entity that's engaged on Jason Fields going to prison and gang stalking me in concert with the Ontario police, who are intentionally excluding me from the ability to publish evidence and access the resources. It's not going to help him. He's going to prison. It will not make an official marriage. It will never. P.O.C. Here's stalking as I move around. And that's the entity stalking, crossing path. This is the entity stalking with light, pacing all around me. They're roaches, and they're engaging in this in the specific environment where the entity is monitoring. They're stalking in the library. They've been doing this all day long. So I've shown you what they're doing on the inside of the library. I documented it today on the outside, showing you what they're doing, psychopaths on the inside. It is public corruption, and this Ontario City Hall gang stalking, engaging in the ritualistic pacing. The entity's flying into alignment where I am, and then engaging what is a cartwheel. This is what the criminal activity that the Ontario City Hall is engaging in. The gang stalking mayor, Paul Leon, is being federally prosecuted. He shares in the unlawful exclusion, discriminating against me, and doing so based upon false pretenses, necessarily so because I'm not a criminal, because I'm not a sex offender, and the entity, including Paul Leon, is actually a sex offender and are watching me prosecute them for said sexual violence at venues such as Stater Brothers, which is why they are putting in writing an admission to lying about my character, criminal defamation, while they engaged in gang stalking. This is C. Gerber under the fake sun, in the same manner that the fake moon is over me here. This is P.O.C. They're pacing out of the Ontario City Hall, crossing path, monitoring me. This is psychological torture while psychopaths are gang stalking you, maintaining an outward demeanor as though nothing is happening. They're going to be committed and they're going to prison with this. This is P.O.C. This is documentation of harassment by Leo, who is gang stalking me with the Ontario International Airport. He's the sex offender molesting me with impossible light. Last night, he's the sex offender engaging in criminal summoning with S. Casas R. Ritchie. The gang members engaging in criminal summoning at Safeco Auto, and also engaging in what is criminal summoning with the people of the state. He's engaging in what is harassing me while I am sitting outside. Regardless of how I'm not sitting outside engaging in indecent exposure. And by the way, whatever he's talking about is malicious. This is a third party, Securitas, and that third party under the fake moon is engaged in what is monitoring. And while he's monitoring, he is harassing me about the fact that I am sitting outside. I'm sitting outside, not disturbing the peace and not disturbing anybody else. This is somebody that is monitoring in concert with the Ontario International Airport, doing so with the state that is maintaining that pattern of conduct, the people of the state. Leo is subject to federal prison. He's engaged in criminal summoning, threatening my life and safety, engaging in what is an attempted kidnapping, because that's the only ongoing purpose of summoning the demons that are already stalking me. Just like you see C. Gerber that was stalking under the guise of excluding me from a venue where you are gang stalking. This is P.O.C. Leo is, again, representing a third-party status, and so is Securitas. He's a psychopath pacing with light, just like them. They're pacing in the engineer light, and he's doing so on a golf cart with a logo on it. You're going to prosecute the company, while they're demons that are going to be subject to commitments and criminal prosecution for federal group stalking and monitoring further into murdering me. This is ongoing harassment by the entity, and it's harassment by Leo, and it's harassment by Securitas. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:38 p.m.
Leo is a third party, and the third party company that he is employed by is Securitas. Securitas is engaging in the criminal activity that is committed as Leo is monitoring. So Leo's audible activity, which is also harassing and is an unlawful threat, is relevant to what is the criminal activity that Securitas is simultaneously engaging in and facilitating as an employer of a gang stalker who was targeting with the Ontario Police Department, the City of Ontario, the Ontario International Airport, as the video documentation establishes. Leo is engaged in ongoing harassment as a means of monitoring, doing so while employed by Securitas. And all the documentation of Leo is documentation of that third-party company that is criminally liable, and that's as relevant to damages. And this is with regard to every gang stalking employee, every company. While these companies, as I've shown, establishing the evidence, this is how you were able to establish liability, because the companies are in fact engaged in gang stalking. Their employees are in fact engaged in gang stalking. The establishments where they are maintaining their businesses are facilitating venues where they are engaging in the pattern of conduct, which is supernatural, meaning there's no coincidences here, there's no accident. It is also relevant to what is malicious. And since this is the case, justice does require finding a constitutional means of holding companies accountable for terrorism, not only for what is actually criminal conduct, un-American and unconstitutional and inhumane, but the audacity for these criminals to be in the United States making a buck on the backs of American citizens whom they are targeting, violating. And this is relevant to the despicable conduct of what is Leo. This is a cockroach. This is a demon who is being employed by a third-party company that is making money in the U.S. and doing so by gang stalking with the City of Ontario. And every Securitas employee is sharing in that. The entity is engaging in what is kidnapping, criminal summoning with Securitas, ongoing systematic harassment. And Leo is documented engaging in systematic harassment literally every day that he's at work. He is monitoring my vagina. He's engaged in the pattern of conduct. And he's also acting with impunity with regard to even referring to the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police Department, who he is admittedly establishing his ongoing agency, as he refers to them, while I'm telling him to stop harassing me, for example. This entity, acting via Leo, committed criminal summoning, which is documented with S. Casas, and R. Ritchie. The Ontario Police Department, the gang members engaged in criminal summoning. So the Sergeant Hall, the entity that refused their names. So that was Casas, Ritchie, Hall, and the entity that's engaging in what is being in my presence ostensibly. That's the malice, because Casas, Ritchie, and Hall are gang stalkers, so they're engaging in what is vagina monitoring. They're monitoring to a detail regarding my breathing pattern. So it's not a phone call where you're establishing presence under the Constitution with regard to the execution of the duties of officers. That's the malicious pattern of conduct of stalking wearing a police uniform. And Securitas is facilitating that unlawful threat. They're doing it while they are employing terrorists, and that is criminal activity while companies are facilitating terrorism in the U.S., funding terrorism, enabling a government to engage in systematic murder and kidnapping. And this is what Securitas is engaging in. So I just want to document that the third party Leo is engaging in that ongoing documented harassment, terrorism, and doing so with sexual violence. I'm capturing the video of him molesting me with impossible light. I'm capturing the video of him engaging in criminal summoning. I'm capturing the video of him engaging in what is gang stalking me in concert with the Ontario International Airport, like what you just listened to. This is the systematic means of gang stalking, and it's also the basis of federal prison. This is P.O.C.